So I started getting the shop all cleaned back up, and I thought, what could I do in the shop today? I could work on patches, but instead, I'm gonna do something I think smarter. These axles have been laying here. I had to drag them around. If you've got old axles like this, you know they're kind of heavy and they get hard to move. I mean, yes, I can hook them up to the cherry picker, but I also want to rebuild this set of axles to put underneath a Jeep. So what I decided today to do is to take some material that I had laying out by my shipping container. I'm getting down to the end of this old angle iron that I have. I had a set of casters. So I'm going to make a cart to put those axles on so I can move them around easily. So first thing to do, double check some measurements just to get an idea of how big I should make the cart.
All right, next I figured take the time, cut all the parts first, put my angles on them, and get them all ground down so that I was ready to weld.
Now that we got all of our parts clean, we're gonna go ahead and square it up, tack it together, and make sure it looks good. So to make sure it's square, we just go corner to corner. 43 5/8 and 43 5/8. Hey, wow, that is awesome. Usually we'd have to tweak it a little bit to get it right. So now I'll make this all solid, move on to the next cutting.
So I went ahead and tacked the first two casters on, and it was at this point I realized I had welded the two casters on the wrong way and needed to cut them off. Next thing is to weld the uprights on to hold the top into position, get them all square.
All right, so it's on its wheels, it's rolling. The next thing is going to be put in a piece of steel. So I'm just gonna take this piece and clamp it from the bottom and tap it in, because I want a nice little tray that I can put some oil absorbent pads in, and that way if anything dribbles out, I can kind of try to keep it clean.
With the top all welded in, now it was time to weld in a little floor for the storage area.
So I also decided to add a back in. I took it over to the brake and put a nice little brake line just to give it a little strength on the top and on the bottom, so the back actually supports the floor of the back of this little shelf. And so I'm just going to take some zip screws, zip this on, and then grind them back off so they're flush, and then we'll make some sides. All right, the three sides are in, and the bottom shelf is also in. So you can see that. So the next couple of things need to do is just to put the extensions coming up, because I want the height a little bit higher than what the table is. I've used almost all my material, but I want it up just a little bit so that the axle isn't just resting on that, but it'll actually be sitting up on some angles that I can put U-bolts in and hold it down nice and tight to the cabinet. So we'll get those welded on next. So with the help of the cherry picker, I have the axle sitting up on here just to mock it up. So you can see right now it's just sitting on a little block of wood, but it's actually just a little too low. I'd like to be able to reach everything without messing with it. So those blocks need to come up just a little bit higher.
So you may notice these are not the brackets that I was talking about cutting. I lost some of my footage, and so here's the explanation of what I'm doing now. This is the extra shelving to hold more axles. So I will be able to hold multiple sets of axles on this, so it'll be a storage stand and a rebuild stand.
So here is the finished product. You can see I got a couple of CJ5 axles on the bottom, a couple of CJ2A axles on the top. Puts it right up where you can work on it. I am going to add maybe some type of strap that I can just hold them down so that this thing ain't dancing around. Got some storage on the bottom for bearings. Definitely gonna add a shelf in, but I will say one thing, I do hate the color. All right, there we go. That's a lot better. Finally used up a bunch of those stickers that I've had laying around forever. So hope this motivates you to make something like it so that you can work on your stuff easier. Makes it easy. I can now roll this off to the corner and put it away. I can leave all these axles on it, just use it as a nice storage cart. And I can also use that top for working on something else once these are all done and rebuilt. So hope you have fun with your project. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked it, you know what to do. Come again. Next thing will be just to put a nice plate of steel in, because I want this to be more like a tray.